Hey, it's Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of People of Distinction, the talk that gives an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, peopleofdistinction.org for more info, or you can always email me directly at benji@alcoleenterprises.com. And on the line with us today, we have Terri Spitzer. We're going to be discussing her amazing memoir, My Complicated Yet Wonderful Life. That's available for purchase through Amazon as well as barnesandnoble.com. And people, before we go any further, I want to take this opportunity and quickly point out that Terri was brought to our network, People of Distinction, today by one of the best advertising firms in the business. And you already know I'm talking about Quipper Prints. So listen to me. If you're a writer out there, you've written a book, although you find yourself now at a crossroads because, well, you need help moving that book. Well, give yourself the best gift you could possibly give and contact Quipper Prints. They're one and the best in the business to do it. And frankly, this is what they specialize in. So head on over to quipperprints.com today and gather all of the ways that their fantastic team is going to help maximize your creative endeavors. And listen, it is a true pleasure, an absolute honor to have Terri here on the line. This book is something that I think we need. As I was doing some research in preparation for today's interview, I came across a remarkable statistic. According to the National Cancer Institution, 1 out of every 2 men and 1 out of every 3 women will be diagnosed with cancer in their lifetime. Now, there are a lot of different cancers, and there are different stages to that. But this means that this affects an insanely high amount of us. And chances are you listening in right now either have battled with cancer yourself or you know someone that has, and it has touched your life in some way, shape, or form. And because of that, Terri's words are needed. Because this is something that we need to be talking about, people. This is something that we need to acknowledge, and we need to start to have some conversations. We need to start bringing more awareness to this. And I am so delighted that we have Terri here on the line because she is the truest embodiment of a person of distinction, and it is a gift what she has created, and we are here for it. Okay, so without further ado, listen, it's her life, she's lived it, it's her book, she's written it, and she is going to be able to articulate it much better than I ever could. But sit back, strap in, and get ready for this ride. Terri, first and foremost, welcome to People of Distinction, and thank you very much for being a guest with us today. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Terri, listen, we're looking forward to this. I think what you're doing here, as I mentioned, is needed. It is something that is special. It is something that is profound, and it truly is an honor to have you here because I know my listening audience is going to be able to receive this gift in the way that it needs to be received. Now, Terri, we're going to cover your background as well as the book because it's a memoir, so it's all going to fall under the same scope here. Without further ado, let's jump right in. My Complicated Yet Wonderful Life. Tell us a little bit more about it.
Growing up, I was a very active and outgoing child and youth. At the age of 12, in 1970, I was diagnosed with leukemia. And at that time, they had no cure. It was all research. And the odds they gave me was I had less than a 10% chance of living 6 months, which you had to accept.
Yeah.
The treatment was 3 years of chemotherapy. And once I went into remission, it would be 3 to 5 weeks of massive doses of radiation to the head. As I started with the chemotherapy, there were definitely side effects to it. But as your blood levels would tolerate it, the dose of the drugs would increase. So would the side effects. So over 3 years, I was on extremely high doses of chemotherapy. And I also went into remission within a month of being diagnosed. and then went through 3 weeks of massive doses of radiation to the head in the event that the leukemia had gotten into the spinal cord and gotten to my brain. I was capable of this happened. I was diagnosed in May, went through radiation, and then was able to go back to school in September, able to continue to go through school, and with my class graduated on time in 1980. It was very important for me to keep up with what I was able to do before all the medications, but there were a lot of side effects, including difficulties focusing and remembering things. But I was able to compensate and make it through that, and graduated from high school in 1980, and then went on to college in 1984. I went to Metropolitan State University, got a degree in therapeutic recreation, which is working with individuals with physical and or cognitive limitations or difficulty. After graduation, I worked in a few assisted living facilities for a couple of years, and then got a job at Spalding Rehab Hospital, where I worked with other therapists treating people that had strokes, orthopedic problems, and or head injuries. And I was able to incorporate some of the things the other therapists were working on with the patients, into things that they like to do, they did for recreation. And so they didn't realize as much of what they were working on as to what they were doing, which was usually for fun.
Yeah.
I worked for them for 11 years. And then I went on to work for Colorado Easter Seals in a warm water therapy pool, work with individuals with limitations and cognitive and functional disabilities, and as well as running the pool, and was able to give them a better response to what they were dealing with. I think my most interesting, I learned a lot from working at Spalding, but the most interesting part of my work happened when I worked in the community center, because I was able to work more individually with clients, and including physical, cognitive, functional, all kinds of disabilities. But I was able to work with them and see what they were capable of doing, and then try to set their goals according to what they could accomplish. I enjoyed watching individuals excel at what they could do, and their self-confidence would grow. One of the individuals I worked with was in his late 20s, and he had functional cognitive problems, and his parents wanted me to work with him, increasing his endurance and balance and coordination. And basically, when he came, I worked with him as I worked with my clients, as I treated him as a regular person, I treat everyone else. And then I would set the goals according to what he could achieve. And slowly he kept getting stronger and a little more coordinated, and wanted a little bit more out of life. He wanted to be treated as an adult. And his parents had a hard time adjusting to that. Eventually he made it to a group home where the expectations were, he had he got a job. He had at the home he had chores and things that he had to achieve, and he was just finally being treated as a regular person, which is everything he wanted to be. He ended up really exceeding what his goals were with me, which was good. Another client I had came to me. His mother had said, I'd like for him to learn how to swim better. And then she said, he's also being treated for leukemia. He was 5 years old, around that age. And I said, let's come into my office. And I sat her down and I said, I don't normally share this with people, but I was diagnosed with leukemia in 1975. And I said, at that time, it was all research. There was no cure. But I said, today, there is a cure. Your son will do very well with his treatment, and he will live a long, happy life. And then she shared with me that one of their concerns was that their son had lost his hair during the leukemia treatment and was wearing a hat, but that he continued to wear the hat even though his hair had grown back. And that concerned them a lot. And after he and I had worked together in the water and stuff, and I went back to her and I said, you don't need to worry about the hat. Wearing that hat is the only control he has. He has no say over when they have to do painful tests on him, all the medication, the chemotherapy, and the side effects that he's getting. But he does have control over whether he wears that hat or whether he doesn't. I said, when he finally decides to take that hat off, he will probably take it off and never wear it again. But right now, that's his only thing he can control. And I was really pleased that she understood, and it made me feel good because I felt like the treatment I had gone through to help them find a cure for the leukemia, they actually helped him get through that.
Thank you very much for sharing all of that. Listen, I want to talk about inspiration here because I can see what you have done and the value that it's had through your work. With regards to your book, My Complicated Yet Wonderful Life, what inspired you to put it out and to write it? Because, of course, this could have been something that stayed on your personal shelf or words that you articulated verbally to those around you, but you published it. Why was it important for you to do that?
I think part of it was because of the different medical problems I've been able to overcome. That, anything is possible if you keep working hard enough and find the right people, support systems to help you go through things.
Yeah.
The other is that I loved working with people and showing them what is possible and what they're capable of. And being able to work with people and encourage them to do more or get better at something was always my goal.
Mm-hmm.
It pleased me when I could see them increasing their self-esteem and their self-worth by the work we would do. And even though I had a lot of different medical issues to overcome, I got to do a lot of traveling with my family and friends. And overall, I've had a wonderful life. I look back and I've had some definite challenges.
Yeah.
But all in all, I've been very fortunate and grown to have a better appreciation for the life I've had and the people I've lived it with.
People, listen, you already know Amazon and Barnes & Noble are where you have to go. My Complicated Yet Wonderful Life is the title you have to pick up, and Terri Spitzer is the author you have to thank for bringing it to your table. I'm telling you, this is a remarkable story that is going to help inspire you. Whether you are battling cancer or you know someone, this is a fantastic resource to add to your shelf. You know, Terri, as we start to close out of this fantastic interview, my next question here, and listen, you've offered so many fantastic words of wisdom. For anybody that is out there, again, battling cancer themselves, and it's almost unfair to ask this question because it's so broad. And listen, the battles that people are facing are as unique as the individual. So it's clearly not a one-size-fits-all, but I think I would be doing my listening audience a disservice if I didn't ask. So for anybody that finds themselves dealing with cancer, they have gotten the diagnosis and they find themselves working through that process, what are some words of wisdom that you can offer them to really help get through and brighten up some of their days?
I think keep on trying. Find the support systems that will help push you through the difficult times and support you when you need someone to say, I'm right here for you anytime you need to talk or anything. My family and my friends were very supportive of me, and that was extremely helpful.
You know, it's fantastic advice. People, what she said, having that village around you is so key. And I know it's often referenced in terms of raising children, right? It takes a village to raise a child. But outside of that, listen, that village, that support system is so key for everything. Because, listen, you can go through these things yourself, but when you have someone else to lean on, to carry some of that weight, so the burden isn't solely on you, it is remarkable and how much that helps. I think that is fantastic advice for anyone listening in right now. Whether you are someone battling this yourself or you know someone that is, rely on those loved ones around you. It doesn't always have to be family members, close friends, whoever you have that you would categorize as that village, as that support system, can really be that saving grace.
The support system is being everything.
Yeah. This is fantastic stuff. People, listen, I know you're like me. You are already heading on over to Amazon and Barnes & Noble and you're getting ready to purchase your books because you understand how valuable this resource truly is. This is something that you need to add to your shelf, but I'm going to take it a step further. It's an even better gift for you to get for someone else to add to their shelf. Head on over there, pick up your copies today, and you can thank me later. Terri, this has been an absolute delight. Such a pleasure. Thank you for writing the book. Thank you for offering so much words of wisdom. And thank you once again for being a guest on People of Distinction.
Thank you for having me.